weekend show, weekend episode of Dov Barron's leadership show, where we look at the emotional intelligence, the human capital, the investment that it takes to be a leader today. And today we're just coming on, and if you're there, I can't see you, remember, until you give me the thumbs up, or until you give me the hearts, or some other one of those little emojis down the bottom there, or hit the share button. That would be great. Let me know that you're with us and that you're joining us. Say hello. Tell us where you're coming in from. To hear from you. In case you're there, wave and say hello. Hello, hello, hello. Wherever you are, say hello. Come on in, say hello. I'll show you the scenery a little bit while we wait for some people to come in and join us before we start the weekend episode of the show. Always good to have you here. Always good to join in with you and share the show with so many other great people around the world. If you're joining us from some other part of the world, please come in and say where you're coming in from. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're watching the show from, where you are. Maybe even tell us what the weather's like where you are right now, because it seems like there's some crazy weather going on around the world. Let's have a look. Matthew Pike, Dove, is watching from Aldershot, where the army is in Britain. Good to have you on, my friend. Thank you. Somebody just put a heart across. I think it was Allison. Allison, tell us where you're coming in from, and share what the weather's like, just for fun, before we start the show, while we wait for a couple of people to come on. And we'll have a bit of a chat here, all right? Allison's coming from stunning New Zealand. And what month are we in? This is January, so Allison, you're in summer, I guess. Beautiful weather down there in Kiwi land. I'm sure it's really lovely. And good to have you on. And let's see who else is coming in. If you come in, as you join in, please say hello. Tell us where you're coming in from. And just for fun, let us know where you're watching from and what it's like over there. Tony Grabmeyer. Hey, Tony, how are you, champ? Good to see you, mate. And you and I are going to catch up, brother, in a big way when I come back. We have got some pretty big exploring to do. Tony's coming in from Colorado. Let's see who else is in there. Matthew says it's wet, dark, and cold over in the UK. Monique says, hi from Holland. It's freezing cold, but fortunately not as cold as it was yesterday. Yeah, we actually had this crazy torrential rain yesterday. Posted a video on my Facebook page there. I mean, it came down like insane amounts of rain yesterday. It was actually a flash flood. You were walking on the pathways, not even on the grass, and it was like a good 6 inches of rain. And we actually got caught in it coming back from the beach. At the beach, beautiful sunny day. Suddenly looked up and saw these black clouds coming in. Went, okay, let's pack up. Let's get out of here and let's get back. And we started to make back. I mean, literally, it's probably a 5-minute walk. And about 3 minutes in, it was coming down. We got caught in it, got soaked to the skin. So as you're coming in, please say hello. Give us the thumbs up. Give us the hearts. Let us know where you are. And Tony asked me if I've officially moved to Mexico. I have not moved to Mexico. I do love it down here, though, because I sure as heck love the weather. I'm definitely solar powered, as many of you know. So I'm just enjoying my my bucks on this Sunday afternoon here at the Maya Riviera, which is on the east coast of Mexico in the Caribbean area. It is rather lovely. Glad to be here with you all, and going to start a show, because the question I asked you is, what the heck will it take for you to wake up? Now, I want to go into what that means in a minute, but let's just start the show. I'll take my windows off. I just realized they're on when I looked at my reflection. All right, so here's the question, right? What will it take for you to wake up? So, for those of you just joining in and maybe have no clue who the heck this is that you're watching, listening to, it's Dov Barron, and I am the founder of Full Monty Leadership, fullmontyleadership.com. I write for Entrepreneur Magazine, Medium, 34 Strong, 15.5, and about another 5 or 6 other outlets, as well as produce my own blog on Full Monty Leadership. And you can find new articles from me on my blog and on LinkedIn every Tuesday and Thursday. There's new videos on YouTube, so you can subscribe at Dove Baron Full Monty Leadership. You can go there and subscribe to those. You can get the new videos, new audios, new podcasts on the podcast. The podcast is Leadership and Loyalty, Dove Baron Leadership and Loyalty, and you can find me on there. And you can subscribe to the show there. Remember, we need you to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. That makes a huge difference. I see that many of you are jumping in, coming in. It's good to have you here. Karen, thanks for coming in. It's good to see you too. You love the 10. Thank you. So do I. And what about this big bushy beard? I'm going to have to shave this off very soon because I'm coming back to work. But my wife says, oh, you can leave it for a few days. It's been 4 from the usual designer stubble, and now I'm looking at a little Santa Claus. But it's actually quite a lot more salt and pepper when you get close up. There you go. Totally on another subject. Anyway, let's jump into the show. All right, today's show, like I said, when are you going to actually listen? When are you going to actually pay attention? That's what it will take. What will it take for you to actually listen? And it seems to me that it comes down to meaning or the meaning of pain. As leaders, now when I say that, I want to be clear that as far as I'm concerned, the fact that you're here, whether you're watching this live right now or whether you're watching this as a review or a preview or as an encore presentation. By the way, when you watch an encore presentation, you can still leave your comments and your feedback. I'll still go back and check in them so we can still interact together, which is great. We still have a conversation, which is wonderful to have. So as you come in, tell me where you're from. Tell us maybe tell me how you found out about me, about what it is that I do. Always good to have you come in. Like I said, even if you're coming in on an encore, we'll get back to you. We'll feedback. So the question is, what will it take for you to pay attention? What will it take for you to really wake up? And as leaders, and as I said, if you're on this, I believe that you're a leader. Leaders are not always in the traditional form of the way we like to think of leaders, in that you're a CEO or you're some title that somebody gave to you, but you're a leader in some way, shape, or form, in that you are a person of influence in your own community, maybe even in your own family, in your own business, in your own industry, whatever it is. And as leaders, we are achievers. As a leader, you are an achiever. Okay? So sometimes, though, as a leader, as an achiever, we go out there and we achieve amazing things, only to find that the joy, the satisfaction, the fulfillment that we're supposed to have from that particular achievement is at best fleeting, and it's suddenly gone. It's not with us for very long. And that can become quite the vicious cycle, and even an addictive process where we find ourselves going out on the hunt for the next big win, for the next big achievement, hoping that this time that the achievement will give us the satisfaction, will give us the fulfillment, will give us the meaning that we were looking for in the last one, and that this time it will stay. And oftentimes that is not the case. Oftentimes we end up missing a lot of what it is that we're actually looking for. Because we all know that it's not good enough to simply achieve. What we're looking to do is to achieve things that have meaning for us. We're looking to achieve things that, or to create things that give us a deeper sense of meaning about who we are and about what it is that we're doing. But how can we know in advance whether the thing that we're going for, whether the achievement we're moving towards is a thing that will give us meaning, or whether it's one of those fleeting achievements that leaves us ending up feeling empty? How can we know that? Here's what I want you to do before we go any further. Just let me close my book because the wind is going to blow stuff away. I want you to think a moment. I want to take a moment and think about a time when you achieved something that had great meaning for you. When you reached a goal, a summit, whatever it was for you, that had really powerful meaning for you. made you feel like, yeah, this is what it's about. Can you think of something like that? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. You don't have to tell me what it is, but just give me a thumbs up if you can think of something that you've achieved that had a great deal of meaning for you. I'll wait for you and enjoy my coffee. Yeah? Okay. There's a few of them popping up across the screen. If you've got some more, give me some. Yeah, good. Fabulous. Now, some of you, judging by the multiples there from certain people, can think of more than one. But here's what I find very interesting. Most of us are pursuing success, pursuing achievement, but we don't actually ever get to that place of feeling meaning. We don't actually get to the sense of feeling this deep sense of fulfillment at what it is that we've achieved. Very often what we achieve is that we end up feeling like, yeah, I hit the goal, but it didn't quite satisfy me. There was something missing. For a moment, just take a moment here. I want you to imagine that you are running a Fortune 500 organization. In fact, you're the one who made it a Fortune 500 organization. You've taken it to the very top. Just imagine the significance that you would feel. Imagine the accolades that you'd get. Imagine how many people would be coming to you and saying, "How did you do it? Like, how did you make it? How, you have made it. How did you get to the top?" Imagine radio, TV, newspapers, blogs, they're all interviewing you. They want to know. And imagine that one of them sits down with you and says, "What does it feel like to have made it?" Now, at that point, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to feel like, "I don't know if I've actually made it yet," which is a very common feeling. "I don't know if I feel like I've actually made it," or you will feel like, "Wow, I have made it. This is pretty awesome." So let's imagine for a minute that you feel like you've made it. You feel like, you really pulled off the big one. You got it to the top. And if you were indeed Fortune 500, you made it to the very top, it might be easy to feel like there's nowhere else to go. It might be very easy to feel like this is the top. Now, some of you have heard me tell my story, but I want to give you maybe a little bit of a different perspective on it. You see, back in 1990, I certainly felt like I'd made it. I was definitely at the top of my game. I was more successful than I'd ever been before. And at that time, the TV, the radio, the newspapers, all those kinds of people were lining up to interview me and wanting to know about me and wanting to know about what it was that I taught and wanting to know how I got to where I was, particularly since the story was about where I had come from, which was from poverty and struggle in my childhood. So they wanted to know about those kinds of things. And, sorry, I got an itchy nose. And they wanted to know those kinds of things. And I remember coming back from this speaking tour. It was actually the second speaking tour in a row. I had no downtime. I was pretty exhausted. And the person who was running my bookings had told me that she'd give me 4 days off. I took these 4 days off, and I went up to a place called Whistler in British Columbia. I know that many of you here are joining us from New Zealand and from Spain and from many other places around the world. So you may not know where Whistler, British Columbia is, but it was the home of the Winter Olympics, I believe, in 2010, although not entirely certain on the date. But it's a beautiful place, and in the summertime, it's just as beautiful. In the winter, it's an alpine village, but in the summertime, it's still a bustling place. It's phenomenal. And we were up there in June, and it had been a really wet spring, and there was a lot of, it had been cold and damp. But that day, it was gorgeous. I mean, the weather was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And it was warm. And we spent the late morning and early afternoon out by the lake in Whistler, and we were just sunbathing and hanging out and really taking in the R&R, really relaxing and enjoying this downtime that I so desperately needed. That afternoon, after lunch, we decided that we'd go for a hike, my buddy and I, and we went for a hike down to a place called Brandywine Falls in British Columbia. It's just very close to Whistler, and it's this place where glacial water melting off the mountaintops pours down and comes off the edge of a cliff and majestically drops about 200 feet. And it is this freezing cold green water. It is magnificent. It is truly beautiful. And we decided that we'd hike down, and we did. We hiked down to the bottom. And even as you stand back looking at this great fall, by the time you get to the bottom, you're actually being hit by a spray of about 70 miles an hour of what feels like really hard rain, because it's bouncing off this waterfall. And we got to that place, and being a bit of an adrenaline junkie as I was in those days, I challenged my buddy that we should try and get behind the waterfall, because there's a place there where you can sort of slide in behind the cliff face, and you can get in there, and the waterfall pours over the edge, and it's a very narrow gap, but it is amazing. And we did. We got behind that waterfall. And when we came out on the other side, I felt like I had a big of Superman tattooed on my chest. I felt like I could do anything. I was totally adrenalized at the max I possibly could be. And like I said, I was an adrenaline junkie. So I said to my friend, let's not hike. Let's scale the face. Let's go up the cliff. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea. Now, we're talking about free climbing. Now, I don't know if you know anything about free climbing, but if you do, you probably know that it is a sport for the moderately insane. And I say moderately insane because normal climbing, you have your safety harnesses, you have your clips, you have your ropes, you have a bunch of good stuff to help you to make sure that you're going to be okay. In free climbing, you don't have those kinds of things. You do have chalk, you have the right clothing on, and you have the right footwear on, but that's about all you have. So it is a sport for the moderately insane. However, we were soaking wet from being behind the waterfall, and I was suggesting that we free climb. Now, I'd done free climbing before, but certainly not soaking wet. And so you can see that the sport went from a sport from the moderately insane to one for the totally insane, to the freaking crazy, actually. But that's what we did. That's what I decided to do. And I began to climb. Now, I don't know if any of you have a problem with heights, but I'm pretty sure that most of you either have lived in or have visited a high-rise. And if you've visited a high-rise, or you've lived in a high-rise, and you've been to, say, the 6th floor, I want you to imagine right now in your mind, I want you to picture being on the 6th floor, going to the balcony, and sort of looking over the edge. You know what I mean? Just looking over the edge. Now, if you don't have a problem with heights, it's not going to be a problem. But if you have a bit of a problem with heights, at 60 feet, which is what 6 floors is, you're probably going to think that that's a bit, your knees might get a little bit wobbly at 60 feet. Now, even if you don't have a problem with heights and you're at 60 feet, you don't want to fall over that edge, right? Now let's sort of take up the game a little bit. Let's go from 60, from the 6th floor to the 8th floor, from the 8th floor, from the 10th floor, from the 10th to the 12th floor. So now let's imagine that you're 12 stories up. If you have a problem with heights and you're leaning over that edge looking down, there's a pretty good chance you've got the wobbly knee syndrome. And if you don't have a problem with heights, at 120 feet, you can see that it would not be a pretty sight for you to fall over that edge. Well, that's about the height I was at, about 120 feet. When I reached for a rock, and that rock dislodged a bigger rock that, bam, hit me in the face and sent me hurtling down at maximum velocity onto the boulders below. Not grass, not gravel, boulders, massive boulders. And those boulders smashed me to pieces. You know, the great philosopher and poet Khalil Gibran says that your pain is the cracking of the shell of your understanding. Well, on that particular day, my understanding got shattered. My face was disintegrated. My jaw was broken into 5 separate pieces. Cheekbones flattened completely, nose gone, eye socket collapsed. There was nothing left of the face that I had previously had. It was all gone. And when I came around in excruciating pain, I felt like I was underwater because I could feel all this liquid in my ears and in my mouth, and it wasn't until I tasted this bitter metal, like a rusty metal in my mouth, that I realized it was blood that was filling every orifice in my head. And as you can imagine, the pain was incredible, excruciating, and the recovery was long and also excruciating. And in truth, I died on multiple occasions, at least five times during that experience. And not once in that time did I think about the achievements. Did I think about how proud I was of the achievements I'd had? Yes, I had regret. Yes, I wanted to get back, all of those kinds of things. But the things that had so much seeming meaning before I'd fallen were suddenly gone. You know, there are two dominant questions that come out every time I tell that story. You know, it's a lot of years ago, and I've been asked 1,000 times these two questions. And the first question is the one that people ask out of just, I think, morbid curiosity, which is, what was it like to fall? And the answer is simple. I can't tell you. And the reason I can't tell you, as I said, a rock dislodged another rock that knocked me unconscious. Probably actually saved my life, but sent me hurtling down. So I was unconscious on the fall. The second question, I think, is a more profound question and a more important question, not just to me, but to all of us. And a reason I think it's a profound question is because I think it's a universal question. It's something that is within all of us regarding meaning. Because every single one of us, every single person that I've ever told that story to, has always asked me, how did that fall, how did that experience change you? Because every single one of us has an understanding that you can't go through a near-death experience, you can't go through a devastating experience without it changing you. And it did. It brought me back to my purpose. Not immediately, but it was a pivotal point in my life where I was brought back to ask myself, what is the meaning of my life? All those accolades, all that success that I'd had, suddenly didn't matter. What I was left with was, what is the true meaning of my life? What is the purpose of my life? That was the question I was brought back to. So now let me ask you this question. Do you think it's important for us human beings to know our purpose in life? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me some kind of emoticon down the bottom there, or hit the share button, do one of those things. But tell me, do you think it's important for you to know the purpose of your life? Do you think that it would add value to your life to know the purpose of your life? Do you think that it might impact your business? Hit those icons. Do you think it would be important for you to know that right now? Now, lots of you are saying, yeah, and that's fantastic. It's wonderful to hear that. Yes, love to. Yes, yes, yes. All these greats. Wonderful, fantastic. Now, here's what I want you to know. Is that news to you? Is it news to you that that's an important thing for you to know? Probably not. Okay, so if you're with somebody else and you're watching this right now, I'm going to get you to do an exercise. If you're not with somebody else, I'm going to ask you to do it out loud. And here's the exercise. I'm going to ask you to do something, and I'm going to ask you to not cheat, but to really do it. This is an exercise I do with some of the companies that I work with. And what I want you to do is I want you to, and you've got to be very succinct here, to state what your purpose is. If you can type it in less than 15 words into the comments as we broadcast right now, or even if you watch this as an encore, please type it in. 5 to 15 words maximum. What is the purpose of your life? Now, let me just give you two provisos here. You cannot put to make money, because if you're in business, that is a foregone conclusion. You don't in business unless you make money. So let's sort of take that as a given. And by the way, you also can't put in there that your purpose in life is to help people. Why? Because it's too bloody vague. So put something specific. Okay, I'm going to ask you to write it down or turn to somebody else and ask them or tell them what your purpose is. But you're going to have to do this very quickly, or you can type it in, whatever it is you want to do. We're going to give you a couple of minutes here, not minutes, actually a couple of seconds to do that. Let me know what your purpose is. Let yourself know what your purpose is. And if you don't know, go with your gut, whatever comes to you. But remember, it's got to be precise, it's got to be specific, and it's got to be concise. Not some long rambling thing. It's not a lecture. So Nicole says, to be the very best version of myself and help others find their purpose. Okay. What else? Who else has got something? Karen, to create safety for myself and those I interact with, showing others what they can do for themselves. Fantastic. Keep going. Someone else, jump in, write it down, type it, whatever it is you want to do. And if you're with somebody else, do it there. Gina says, to show others how to live life on their terms, no more settling. Fabulous. Write them down, type them in, tell a friend, whoever it is you're with, write down your purpose. Because here's the thing, and I want to just jump ahead with this. When I asked, is it important to know your purpose? Invariably, 80% of people will say yes. It's even important to their business. But when I ask people to state their purpose, less than 20% of people can actually do it. Randall says is to be very successful international real estate consultant doing commercial real estate to high net worth and travel the world. Is that a purpose or is that a mission statement? Ha ha! Gotcha! Very often we state a purpose that is not a purpose. It is a mission statement. It's a statement for our business. But a purpose and a mission statement are vastly different things. So my challenge to you is to get out there and find your purpose, because it is the very thing that will change the direction and the intensity and the meaning of your life and your business. And here's the thing, you don't have to wait to fall on your head or get hit by a bus before you find your purpose. Only idiots do that. I know, because I was king of the idiots. I fell on my head in order to find my purpose. Don't be that person. Whatever you think your purpose is, I know that some of you who answered on here are actually my clients. You've worked with me and I've helped you to find your purpose. If you're not, you need to do that. Okay? If you've joined us, thank you for joining us. If you've been part of this, share it with somebody else. Challenge them to find their purpose. Challenge them to take a look at what their purpose is. Remember, you've got to take a look at, we're busy. We live in a world of achievement. But if the achievement you're making doesn't have the kind of meaning that fulfills your purpose, you're going to find yourself insatiably hungry for the next one. So this is Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com. If you find your purpose, you want to type it in, go ahead. Nancy just did. My purpose is to lead individuals to awaken to their true selves so they can reach their full potential from wherever they are. Okay? Whatever it is, you write it in there. Share this with others if you think it's important for people to find their purpose without having to get a bang on the head, hit by a car, a horrible diagnosis, or some other tragic way to find their purpose. It's all about the meaning. And too often we do not stop to find the meaning of our lives. This is Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com. If you found this valuable, give me the thumbs up. Give me the hearts, give me the icons, you can do all that. And please hit share so that other people know about this and other people get value out of it. And when you see it pop up as an encore, if you want to hit share again, then you'll be sharing the encore version with others, because it may stop being live and you're welcome to do that with others. All right? So until next time, this is Dov Baron, fullmontyleadership.com. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at @TheDovBaron. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Dov Baron. You can follow me on Facebook, Dov Baron Leadership. On YouTube, Dove Baron Full Monty Leadership. On iTunes, Dove Baron Fiercely Loyal. There's a bunch of great ways for you to catch up. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your comments and your feedback down the bottom there. I appreciate that. Again, hit those icons, give the thumbs up, give the hearts. I get to see those. They're kind of like me hearing a round of applause. It's really cool. Michael says thank you. Steve says thank you. Appreciate it. Karen says thank you. Good to hear from you guys. Appreciate it. Randall says thank you, shared. Outstanding advice. Appreciate it, my friend. Until next time, stay curious, my friend. Stay curious about the impact of following your purpose, finding your purpose, following your purpose, and pursuing your achievements from a place of meaning. Till next time, this is Dove Baron, Full Monty Leadership, and I am out.